I'm waiting on that Nintendo showcase. They better do that soon. I hope they. If it's next Tuesday, they should announce it today. They should announce it today. Give it a week. I think the latest Nintendo might go and still like be in the Summer Game Fest timeline would be next Thursday. So that's kind of like with the betting special. I was like, all right, it's gonna be between this Wednesday and next Thursday. Those are the dates. Things have to fall within those dates to count. RF Switch, thank you. Clayton, thank you. Height. How tight will Keely's pants be this time? That's almost a spoiler for the betting special. You're getting pretty close to one of those bets. Um, am I going to try to make something for the Playdate? Like make a game? I'm not making a game. That's a Kyle question. Go ask Kyle if he's going to make a game for the Playdate. I wonder if his Game Boy game would convert. It'd probably take a lot more work. Yeah, Tuesday is their usual spot for Nintendo. Fish Flop, thank you. Let's see. What else? Only one showcase I want to hear. It's Dragon's Dogma. Yeah. Um, doo-doo-doo. Very awkward Sonic Central. Oh yeah, the Sonic Central thing happened this morning. Holy cow. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I don't think I'll do it on this stream, but I'll have to check that out. Very awkward. Sounds about right. Sounds about right for your sake of presentation. Yesterday's limited run. I'm jumping all over the place now. Hang on. Let's go back. Back to the original topic that I was speaking of. The Frame Trap episode. Hoglaw, thank you very much. Hogue doing some paperwork for us behind the scenes. Um, the Glover, yeah, Glover was in there. I'm still getting distracted. I need to like figure out the balance of talking about what I want to talk about and then responding to chat because I need chat's input to do things. To make this stream last an hour. But so back to the frame trap thing. So yeah, we recorded that remotely because so Brad tested positive for COVID, and so like now we're just all sort of in this holding pattern of like, okay, well, we need to get tested now, but it's like we have to wait 5 days until our last contact with Brad before the tests are accurate and stuff. So I went and got a COVID test this morning. Hopefully, get the results to be negative. I haven't felt any kind of effects whatsoever. I don't have any symptoms or anything. Just we're going to be doing an event with the rest of the industry this week, so I cannot bring COVID to that event. Cannot happen. So yeah, so group streams tonight will be remote as well, unfortunately. But as long as everything is cozy after that, then we should be back in studio on Thursday. But pending tests. Worst week for any of this to happen. Absolutely the worst. Jeff has been cleared. I saw Jeff's tweet. He got his negative test. He's good to go for his shoot. But yeah. Yeah, I don't think Brad's even like, at least the last time he said anything. Situation might be different now, but the last time had Brad had said something, he wasn't feeling too bad. He was just bummed that he had to, stay at home, stay in his room. But but yeah. So yeah, let's pull this guy up. We're gonna do a Cup of Jones thing over here. Um, this is what our week looks like. This is our madness. Not even counting Capcom, which I had to hold on to. We got a heads up for that. If you didn't notice, that Capcom blog has a link to Easy Allies because we're going to be reacting to that on Monday as well. But yeah, so we've got Mysterious Monsters was yesterday, and check that out. Elise Willems, AJ Locasio, and James Willems. James Willems is the funny one for me because I have known Elise for what, 10 years? Probably. But we don't hang out, right? Like we're great friends, but we work together and we haven't really like hung out. So my knowledge of James is like once in a while, every couple of years, we'll see each other and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, so it's really kind of bizarre. There's always just like this awkward moment when when I run into James and everybody else in our audience. Maybe not everyone in our audience, but a lot of people in our audience are quite familiar with James. Have been on, watched a lot of James streams and stuff. And that's like you probably know him more than I do. You probably do. Um, all that said, fantastic episode, really fun, really funny, really long. They drag everything out that you could possibly drag out. The thing I noticed on the first round of Mysterious Monsters was they weren't sticking with anything. They just kept bouncing between all of the different monsters. And so, of course, that round took forever. Um, yeah, yeah. So that was super fun. I love the intros too that they gave at the beginning with the Don puppet, Jimmy Spaghetti. Huber freely gave out 1.69 gold during this past Serious Monsters. Yeah. Also, really close scores. Yeah. Don't want to get too spoiler or anything, but it was a close game. Will the Quarry get a review or just a full playthrough? Just a full playthrough. That'll probably be about a week after launch. Right now, that's the plan. That next Friday. No Horrible Historian. Wasn't Horrible Historian cut? I think Horrible Historian was out for season 2. Or was that a made up thing that I just whatever. I think Historian was there in season 1 and is cut now, but I could be wrong. If Historian was Historian even a monster? I think it was a monster at one point. um, can I tell us of any interaction I've had with Jeff Gerstmann? You know what, Jeff Gerstmann is similar to where I've seen Jeff at events. I don't watch Giant Bombs like Ben. See, Ben is in this interesting place where Giant Bomb started up before Ben got into the industry, and so he was, that was like one of the places he watched as a fan. And for me, Giant Bomb started up after I was working, and so like I end up not watching a lot of other people's stuff just because I'm so busy with our own stuff, right? So yeah, I've seen Jeff at events, said hi, um, and the biggest thing with Gersman for me is he would always be in the early sessions for Forza reviews, and so we would always be racing against each other, or he would. Um, oh, his Drivatar. I would always have his Drivatar on there, even if we weren't playing actually together. Like I would be racing against this Drivatar on my list. So yeah, yeah. Mysterious Monsters, Hangout with Blood. That's happening right now. Summer Game Fest, Hype Fest is group stream tonight, remote. As I said, I do not know what we're doing. I think it's gonna like before, like the past years, we've brought trailers, right? We brought trailers, but Damiani hasn't given me any instructions. So I think Damiani is just kind of drive this thing, or he's gonna tell us something like in the next couple of hours of what to do. So it could be wild, right? It's like that the state of play betting special last week. It we we had planned on doing wheel spin, then Isla was out and was like, okay, we have to do something else, and it was like, okay, betting special. And it just kind of happened. So we might have that kind of energy. I don't know. It's gonna be a little crazy. Isla and Dawn tomorrow. I think that's still gonna be remote because I think Isla has like one more day um, where she needs to like. I think she's all right being around people if she's math, but she's just gonna do it remote to make it easier on Dawn. Uh, Before that, somewhere tonight, today, tonight, tomorrow, the betting special will go up. Uh, I think it might be on the long side, but it's fun times. We got started on it late. I will admit that we got started on it late. I think Don just without there being an actual E3, I think he didn't have in mind to do a betting special. And then I was like, Don, we doing a betting special? And then he's like, oh, I guess we could do one. It's like we need to do a betting special, because aside from a few things, it's pretty much Nintendo. Nintendo's the one that's killing me. Like Nintendo just confirm you're gonna be doing something this week, sometime this week. That's all we need, Nintendo. But yeah, betting special is coming. Then Frame Trap already mentioned that's out for patrons right now. It'll go public on Wednesday. Thursday, Summer Game Fest kickoff reactions. Jeff's picking out his shoes. There's going to be some live element to that for sure. So that'll be fun to see what could possibly go wrong. Oh, did you see this Kojima tweet? Kojima is like, "Good morning. I'm on Western time zone right now, or Pacific time zone." Yeah, Kojima's Kojima gonna be on that stage. I think Kojima's gonna be here. I don't know what he's gonna bring, but did I see the leak? I don't know what leak you're talking about, and I don't want to see a leak if I don't have to. Devolver. Oh wait, before Devolver, it's not really listed here because it's kind of part of Summer Game Fest. Day of the Devs. I've liked the ones that they've done the past couple of years. It's been a good time watching those. They're a little on the longer side in terms of like not quite deep dive, but a little bit longer in terms of what they show. But I think they have a good balance. I think they actually have a good balance of like, here are the devs, here are the actual people making this game, here's the crazy game, here's the trailer, here's some gameplay, here's Tim's backyard. But yeah, and then the Devolver marketing countdown to marketing, I think is what that's called. That's gonna be weird. As it should be, as Devolver always is. So that was funny, and I hope Ben went back and watched that trailer because Ben needs to see that trailer. Oh man, yeah, we gotta send that to Ben. Then the podcast will be right after all of that. I'll get the podcast thrown together. We will have the behind the scenes for that Thursday night, and then that will go up Friday morning. It will actually probably, I haven't exactly figured out logistically how that's gonna go up, but because it's the Summer Game Fest and it's gonna be, it's gonna be, the reactions to stuff that happens that day, like we tend to do with E3 podcasts. It'll probably go public, if not the exact same time as the Patreon version, pretty close, pretty close. So yeah, that'll be Friday this week, even though it still says Sunday. I always give myself that wiggle room. It's like, I'll post this early, but I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna post this early. But I mean, I just did. But I mean, not officially. Did anything from Netflix Geek Week excite me? I have no idea. I don't watch. I haven't watched Netflix. I haven't watched any of their shows. There are things that interest me there. One day when I get Netflix, I will check those shows out. But I'm not watching the Geek Week to see what's happening on Netflix. Um, do we get Frame Trap news abroad? I'll get to that. It may or may not happen. It's kind of up to Ben. It's a little weird. So yeah, so now, okay, so Friday and Saturday, the groups get kind of split. So if you're not aware, there is Keely's doing a in-person event called Summer Game Fest Play Days, where we're going to get hands-on access to things. It's sort of unlike anything we've really done. It's the closest thing to me as it seems like is Judges Week, but it's different than Judges Week too because it is a little bit more showish, but it's not. So like E3's like primary thing before it went opened up to the public was they were a business, they were a trade show, right? So their main reason to exist was for retailers and other business folks to come in and see what the industry was working on and make their sales orders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why there are always so many GameStop employees at E3. Electronics Entertainment Expo. Of course I know what E3 stands for. But yeah, so this is like directly for press and not for business, right? So it's a very small scale event. It's a very small venue, and because of that, there's a very small number of people that can get in. So he can't bring the whole crew. That's one of the first things they said to me is you're not going to be able to bring the whole crew. I managed to get one more person in. So it's going to be me and Ben doing the Playdays event. And I don't really know what to expect too much. It's very strange. There are not a lot of appointments. There are for sure some things that I know will be there that are not doing appointments where you just walk up like old E3. So I don't really know. I don't know what we're gonna get out of it. I know that some things are doing the annoying thing of uh we'll play a thing there but we can't talk about it until sometime in the future. So that's a little frustrating because we do have planned hands-on impressions streams for those evenings to come back. Me and Ben are going to come back. We're going to talk about what we played. But some of those things we won't be able to talk about right away. So we'll have to figure out, how, we'll just have to schedule those things like a regular preview, which is a little weird. Uh, but yeah, I'm curious how the space is going to be laid out. I'm curious how everything's going to be. Um, but invite only, and it looks like it'll be like, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's gonna have like the big blowout stuff that we're used to at E3. It's like, oh, we saw this huge crazy thing in the press conference, we're gonna go play, and it's like, no, like that publisher has one game, big publishers with one game. Like, okay, cool. Then but yeah, so we're gonna do that Friday. I don't think there's a whole lot else happening Friday. I know IGN is doing their thing. We don't usually cover IGN's stuff because they're IGN. It's like if we ran a stream, like that's a little weird. So we'll let IGN have their fun, have their day, and then we'll come back in the evening and we'll talk about what we can talk about from Playdays. And then Saturday, Ben and I will be at the hands-on event, and then the crew, the home team, will be reacting to Wholesome Direct and Future Games Show. There are some other showcases happening that day, but it's like take it or leave it kind of thing. Like nobody's waking up early for Gorilla Showcase. There's a thing in between that we don't know what it is yet, so Isla will probably make the call as to whether they watch that or they take a break. They may watch Gorilla Showcase late after the fact. They may, they're just like, hey, we're here, we're gonna watch this now. So stay tuned for what happens there. Then that night, Ben and I will come back and we'll do our second day's hand-on impression. Easy update. I don't know what's gonna happen there. Yeah, we're going to have to take note of the carpets ourselves because Isla and Don cannot go. I don't know if there's going to be carpet. I think it sounds more like a warehouse kind of thing. I don't know. I'll have to see. I don't know. It may not have carpet. So we'll just have to wait and see if there are carpets or not. I have to ask if I can take pictures or not because with some of the things being under wraps, I may not be able to. But we'll have to see. Does Limited Run have a showcase? It was yesterday. We watched that showcase yesterday. We didn't react to it, but we hosted it on here. And then Sunday will be the last big one until Nintendo announces something. But we've got Xbox reactions with Bethesda's in there now, so that's like a double-sized event nowadays. And then PC Gaming Show reactions. They'll be out pretty early on Sunday, which is nice. And then we'll be back, as I said, Monday afternoon for Capcom. And then if we're lucky, we'll get Nintendo to announce something on Tuesday. Check out the trailer for Frog Gun if you missed Limited Run yesterday. Yeah, that was a highlight. I think that's a new game. And yeah, Capcom announced they're doing a showcase on Monday. Yeah. If you had missed that, But it sounds maybe like they're not announcing any more games. Like they're just gonna go deep dives into stuff they've already shown. However, the caveat on that is we still have Summer Game Fest, we still have Xbox. So even if Capcom doesn't announce anything at their showcase, they might still have things to announce on these other showcases, even PC Gaming Show. I kind of doubt Capcom would announce something on PC Gaming Show, unless it's specifically PC related. But yeah, I could see them having new games Thursday or Sunday for sure. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2, where are you at? Yeah, isn't I'm blanking on the name. The Devil May Cry director. Didn't he like basically say that he had a choice between doing Devil May Cry 5 or doing Dragon's Dogma 2 first, and then he would get to the other one right afterwards? So, eats to know. There you go. Thank you. So it just feels like it's gonna happen. It feels like it's gonna happen. All right, let's get the schedule out of here. I want to see if you saw this thing. Did you see this thing? Bloober Team. Teasing. Unannounced game. This is what they sent. Layers of Fear. Could be. Everyone's saying it is Layers of Fear. Yeah, I would not recognize Layers of Fear art if I saw it. But there's definitely layers to this image. They announced Layers of Fear at TGS last year. Interesting. Interesting. But yeah, let me what's my email say about this? There's not much. Oh gosh. Yeah, now that you like reminded me, it just has to be Layers of Fear. This is all they said. Um, Reach beneath the surface and uncover the source of your fears. Like that's like if somebody Google translated Layers of Fear, that's what would come out. That's what would come out. Reach beneath the surface. What else is happening? What else is? Let me look into this email, see if there's anything I can talk about and share with you. Doo-doo-doo. Oh yeah, pizzas. We talked about the limited run showcase. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more. Here, let's get this creepy thing off the screen for a minute. Yeah, so limited run. Let me get my notebook out. We had pizzas. We got free personal pan pizzas that come with the physical edition of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Um, I don't think those come with digital, right? That was only like a limited run thing. So that's a funny one. Oh, MinMax. Hello, MinMax crew. We are not doing anything super exciting. We're just talking about Summer Game Fest, hanging out, having some coffee, listening to some Guardians of the Galaxy music earlier. Hello, hello. Hello, Drew. Hello, Snake. Do I have pizza? I do not have the pizza codes. I'm pretty sure the pizza codes have to come in that physical box. You got to get that physical, which also, people skimmed over this. It also comes with like a shredder toy. You get a physical shredder toy. I don't know if that's like a vintage or a reproduction of a vintage. Yeah, have you seen that stuff with He-Man? It's wild. You go into Target and you see they've repackaged the old He-Man toys, and they're not exactly the toy, right? Like it's like somebody took the mold for those toys and like updated it to a modern design, just very slightly, because they don't articulate quite the same way. They're probably more durable, to be honest, because the He-Man toys, like the legs were put together like these like bits of rubber that like eventually like kind of rotted out and fell apart if you had used them to any degree. Dr. Mojo Jojo, hello, hello. But but otherwise, they're essentially like the exact same packaging, like very very close to the original packaging. So I haven't seen if like Ninja Turtles has done any of the same kind of thing, but I wouldn't be surprised. Um, but yeah, Dragoon Knight. Hello, hello, hello. So yeah, what do we? Okay, I'm looking at notes for Frame Trap instead of the limited run games. Where are we at? What do they have? Okay, so yeah, Mega 64 running this thing like like it's an FMV game. Limited Run's really gotten into the FMV kick for sure. Like they love publishing these old FMV games, and they've made their whole presentation this year to be an FMV game. And so it was like really low res, uh, probably like it's like they had up, I'd say upscaled in a very limited fashion. It's like they blew up 240p or 200p or something. Um, but they didn't smooth out the pixels, right? So I don't know if you'd exactly call that upscaling. But they yeah, and they started with like this helicopter footage, and then they had them in like this military vehicle, and they were like, they've got like 300 kilos. They're going after 300 kilos of illicit E3 trailers that somebody's got smuggled because there is no E3 this year. Oh boy. And then they were watching the trailers on like this tiny little CRT monitor that you could like hold in your hands with a floppy drive attached to it, like a real floppy drive, like the 5-inch discs. Um, and then what was so funny is like they're preparing to go in and like enter the terrorist base or whatever, and but they're searching this car beforehand, and after every couple of trailers they're like, oh, we found it, we found another one. They just kept pulling out floppy disks out of the bag, and, and one of the guys was just like, getting annoyed at the other guy and all that. Anyways, the Mega 64 aspect of it was entertaining for sure, but as chat notes, the trailers limited run it's why I don't react to it, because I cannot make out what is actually new. What is happening in this showcase that is newsworthy? I cannot parse it half the time, because yes, limited run, their business is to make physical copies of games. Um, and sometimes those games are games that have only been released digitally, and some of those games have been out for a long time. And now we're getting a limited run edition because there's a fan base behind it, there's a demand behind it, or whatever. But sometimes they release a physical version, or they announce a physical version of a game that's digital that isn't even out yet. So it's like, okay, are we getting new footage of the game? But if it's a small game and you haven't been following it, it's kind of hard to say. And then sometimes, like, they are announcing a game along with the physical version. And then sometimes they get some retro game, like they had a few of these things where like NES and Game Boy games, like they're making physical reproduction carts of those, or they're making like a PC disc that has them on them, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And then yeah, the announcement for D, it was like a very long trailer, and then it was like, oh, it's coming out on PC and 3DO, but it actually was. That's the thing that's weird, is like sometimes it's not even clear what they're announcing. So it's a real wild one. It's a real wild showcase. Um, but yeah, D is coming to PC as well. It's just not coming to consoles, as far as I know. Will the Doom Eternal physical still require a download? Yeah, yeah. And so that was a weird one too. Like that was their like one more thing, and I was like, wait, didn't Doom Eternal didn't get a physical copy? Like, and I guess it was canceled on Switch, the physical version. I don't know, but you see, that's the thing. It's so hard to follow when you're not if you're not intimately familiar with each and every one of these projects. It's really hard to follow. Ah, yeah. So Gore says that they were not happy that Doom Eternal did not get a Switch physical. Oh yeah, Doom 64 physical edition on Xbox was interesting. So weird. Been asking for months for Doom Eternal. Nice. Yeah, let's see what else was there. Oh, I forgot about one of the FMV things is they would actually have parts where the quote unquote player would actually like shoot on screen, sort of like gun game esque, right? But FMV style. And it was so funny because at the very end, when you're supposed to shoot the bad guy, they just waited. They just like let the animation loop for an uncomfortably long time, and the boss did nothing. Oh, just making those references that almost nobody will understand. I love it. Lunark was in there. I think that was one of the newer ones. And Way Forward, I guess, is publishing that now, which is cool. But again, I don't know like the status of Lunark. Like, has that game come out yet? Or is that? I guess that game is not out yet, but it's still coming out. Or has it come out on PC and not console? Can we talk about the Blanca flip? We can get there. Let me finish this limited run stuff. Um, Doom 64 I talked about. Original Shantae GBC. Yeah, see, that was weird too. Like, hasn't Shantae. Shantae is really hard for me to keep up with because there's so many games and then there's so many re releases that it's like when you bring Shantae Game Boy Color up again, I cannot tell you how many times it's been re released. So I guess it's coming out on PlayStation physical now. Lunark is a Kickstarter in progress. Thank you, Mayor McFrumples. A Boy and His Blob was in there. Arcade Classics. This Konami thing was so confusing to me because it was just called something like Arcade Classics, but it was a specific group of shooters. It wasn't all encompassing or anything. It wasn't even like a huge selection. It was like 6 or 7 games. They had the Gradius theme, but they said Nemesis, and I'm like, wait, is there a version of Gradius called Nemesis in the arcades that I was not aware of? It's what it seemed like. Life Force was in there too. Some other things. Yeah, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties made an encore appearance with like a lot of the same footage that was in there last year, probably because there's not a lot of footage in that game. KOTOR 2 Switch is getting physical version. We talked about Shredders. There's a game called Blossom Tales 2. I'd never heard of Blossom Tales 1. But it's really funny because that game looks too much like Link's Awakening. I noticed it with like the eagle fight. I'm like, that's the eagle fight from Link's Awakening. They just like changed the sprites a little bit. And then there are other things in there too. It's like, man, this all feels like I'm sure if you play the game, the map and the story and so much else is going to be different. But there was just so much of that game that I just felt like I was looking at a clone. It was a little strange to me. Blossom Tales is one of those games that's always around during around $1 during eShop sales. Interesting. Link's Awakening is not a bad game to clone, but yeah, it just felt a little too similar from what I saw in that trailer. Oh, Tetris Effect Connected getting some physical version, and then Death Wish Enforcers. That is probably going to come up in the well, maybe not all of this, maybe just the Shredder's Revenge thing. But Death Wish Enforcers, I wrote down that Isla said in chat, maybe too horny. Coming from Isla, that's a statement. Night Trap made an appearance again as well. Yeah, so let's see. Let's see what I have here for this Blanca flip thing. Okay, let's bring this back up. I gotta hide the gross image again. It's not that gross. It's just whatever. It's this one. So, in our State of Play betting special, I'm not sure what Xbox going to do with this, so if it freaks out for a second. Apologies. We had asked the question. Pause this. Pause this. Okay, thank you. Um, we'd asked the question, will Blanca flip? And we didn't think we saw Blanca flip. But then people presented to us. Oh, I moved the wrong thing and put that back. Now, wait, hang on. Camera go up. Sorry, the controls on XSplit are throwing me off today. Sorry. Why is it? What is going on with my cam? Okay. So camera is where it's supposed to be. I don't know why everything else got moved around. This should have been a simple put it in and start playing it, but hang on. I want that to be below that. I want it to be below that. Yeah. For some reason, when I tried to move the trailer, everything else got out of order. That should be on top. Okay. So that's there. That's fine. That I can delete the layers of fear thing. Okay, I think we're good. Now I just got to pull up the controls on this and get to where we can see this. Okay, so context again. Betting special. Will Blanca flip was a bet. We didn't think we saw Blanca. Now we see somebody submitted evidence that the girl, if anyone knows the girl's name, let me know. That's fighting Chun-Li has a Blanca-chan around her neck. Let me turn this volume off. We don't need to see volume. Bop, bop, bop. Okay. So you can't really see it there. How well is this going to let me frame by frame? It's probably not, is it? XSplit. I might be better off. Yeah, okay. This isn't going to work the way I'm doing it. But anyways, there's a Blanca-chan hanging from her. I'll put up the GIF here in a second so you can see it like that, because this isn't working. I was trying to use the high quality in XSplit, but it's just like it's not letting me do frame by frame. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to do this differently. Said delete it. Sorry, XSplit's being slow for me today, so there it is. Okay. Yeah, let me start with the GIFs and then I'll go to high quality. So this is what essentially a Blanca-chan looks like right here, right? So we got this guy. And then this is one of the GIFs. So you can see it right there, swinging from her pouch. And then here's another one. So you can see But we're going to get into the close-ups here in a second. So let me get this open up. So I'm gonna open it in QuickTime, and then I'm gonna show the QuickTime to XSplit, and hopefully XSplit won't freak out. All right, view, fit to screen, XSplit, add source. There we go. Sweet. Okay. So let me get rid of the GIFs. XSplit's still going to be a little weird, but this will be better than what we had once I can control QuickTime. All right. So, there we go. All right, chat. Should be able to see that right there, see? Swinging. Swinging there. All right, so that's shot one. All right, here's shot two. Look at that swing. Look at that swing. That sway, that back and forth. And then this is the one that everyone's zooming in on. So you can see there's Blanca-chan sort of there. The leg sort of obscures it. There's the legs. There it goes up. There it swings around. And then you can see the top of his head. And that's basically all we got. Right there, right? So that's the swing. So these are the three shots. So the close-ups at least allow us to confirm that that is almost certainly Blanca-chan. And then this last shot is where it's the question of, is that a flip? Right? Is that a flip? And we are a bit split on that right now. So I don't know exactly how this is going to work in terms of the council and the voting and the bets, but this is where this is where things are at, because essentially my argument is that well, it's twofold. There's two questions to solve, right? The number one is, does Blanca-chan, does a Blanca-chan count as Blanca? And you might say, well, that's silly, but Blanca-chan, the toys exist in the Street Fighter universe. Blanca sells these toys. So Blanca and Blanca-chan are separate objects. Or, there's a character and there's an object, right? Then the second part of this is this a flip? Is this thing swinging side by side enough to count as a flip? And to me, when I look at the motion that's in this shot here, and the way that it dangles back and forth, and the physics of this chain, it's swinging. It never does. It's not possible for it to make a full rotation. And then when you look at this shot, which is the closest that we can get to a flip, Blanca seems to go kind of upside down for sure. But I think it's going to swing, the chain is going to catch and it's going to swing back down. So, is that a flip? Which definition of flip do you go with? If you flip over a card, you just do a 180. But if a person does a flip in a gymnastics competition, if you flip and all you do is like go upside down, the judge is going to give you a 0 on that thing, right? Like that's not going to count. No one's going to give you that as a flip. It's like if you did a half flip and you fell on your head, that would be you tried to do a flip. Right? You didn't successfully accomplish that flip. So, so there we go. So that's the big question that is yet to be answered from the state of play bets. Where the council will end up falling, I don't know. I know that I am on the side that it probably is not a flip. Donna's on the side that it's a flip. Isla's on the side it's a flip. I don't know. We haven't heard from everybody else, so we will have to see. And we still haven't determined really if, like I said, is Blanca Chan count as Blanca? Oh, yeah. So fun times, fun times. You gotta be careful not to move XSplit too much because sometimes, hasn't happened to me recently, but sometimes when I move the XSplit window, it'll just freeze up the whole computer and have to reset the computer. We don't want to do that. Patreon vote. No, it won't be a Patreon vote. It'll be the council. Oh, Gore has the same problem with XSplit. Interesting. Is it even a betting special if there's no controversy? For sure. Yeah, I'm very eager. After this, I'm gonna be approving the betting special for Summer Game Fest, and so I'm very curious what the where everything's gonna end up there. That's gonna be a fun time. What else? What else, chat? Now that we've opened up the Blanca can of worms, what else do we want to talk about? Will the results be on stream tomorrow? No. We are going to do a results show that's going to cover everything. So the state of play and the Summer Game Fest things, I think we're just going to do one results show that covers all of it. Have I ever had teeth pulled? Yeah, I've had teeth pulled. Quite a few, actually. I had to get some pulled when I got braces, and then I had to get my wisdom teeth removed when those were coming in. Are you doing suits this week? I've never done a suit, but has not been discussed. People may do suits. I think if we do them, it will be Thursday and Sunday would be the days. We would not do them the other days. How confident am I in a Nintendo Direct happening next week? I don't think confident is a word that I can use. I think it's likely. I think that Nintendo typically, you know, even when E3 wasn't a thing 2 years ago, they had done something. But Summer Game Fest the first year was not this condensed and well organized, right? It was, oh, we're gonna do some things at the beginning of June and some things at the end of June and some things in July and some things at the beginning of August, and it's just gonna be all Summer Game Fest is gonna last all the way up until Gamescom. So I much prefer this. I much prefer just to be like E3, lots of stuff happening during the week. The hands-on, stuff is still way different than doing E3 hands-on, but yeah, but we're gonna get demos in terms of Steam Next Best, right? That's gonna happen the week after. But yeah. Did I have an E3 routine when I arrived on site? Routine? I don't have like a routine, I don't think. I would, it'd all just be down to the schedule. But yeah, I would get into the, I would usually get to the press center and pick up my badge over the weekend. I would get in there early and get my badge, and then that would be nice and simple. And so then I would just, yeah, get it, get in line, get into E3 as soon as the doors opened. Um, but some days not even that. Like as the years went on, I managed to find appointments that I could book where I didn't have to worry about the show floor right away. I could just go to an upstairs meeting room, not worry about any of the crowd, not worry about the stampede to the Nintendo booth. So the only time Nintendo announces direct far in advance is for the June E3 videos. Yeah, but I think even then there's still like a week or maybe a little bit more than a week. It does feel like they would have announced something by now, but I'm still holding out hope that we'll get something today in the next couple of days for an announcement, and then it will happen next week. Most anticipated game from Summer Game Fest. Hmm. I don't really have one off the top of my head. I, uh, I do want to see more Callisto Protocol, but I don't know how much of that we're gonna get to see. Yeah, and same, likewise, like I don't know if Sony's gonna have anything in there, because Sony, they just did their state of play, obviously, and they avoided first party stuff. So I don't know if they would give a bone to Keeley at all there. Really want a shadow drop of Shadow's Revenge. Yeah, yeah, I think that I feel like that shadow drop will be the least surprising shadow drop of all time because it just feels like everyone knew that was going to happen for I don't know how long, and I don't know why we knew that. I don't think there was a leak. I don't think there was a rumor. I think we just all assumed Keeley is going to shadow drop it, and it will happen. Or yeah, either Shadow Drop or it comes out in the next week or two. Yeah, it could very well be like next week, right? Like next Tuesday. Um, and then what else? Oh, yeah. I don't know if I'd say most anticipated, but it's time to show that Forza Motorsport, right? This is so long since they've had a Forza Motorsport game that Forza Motorsport 7 is delisted. You have an entire series delisted, Microsoft. What is going on over there? What is going on? It's so weird. It's so weird. Does Forza have a shot at 2022? Yeah, all the time. Like, more than any other genre, I feel racing games get announced at E3 and then come out before the end of the year. Like, I fully expect Need for Speed to be out this year, but we're not seeing it yet. And we might not see it until Gamescom. Could be in Summer Games Fest, but yeah, what EA said that they're not doing a showcase this year. They would just focus on individual title announcements. I think it's the way they put it. Um, but yeah, Forza. I expect Forza to be dramatically different after all this time. I think I think that the way that they're renaming it just to Forza Motorsport, unless that was just a working title, right? Because they didn't put Nate on it. Uh, it leads me to believe that they are taking a different approach than simply releasing a game every other year. That they're going to create a like a living, like I want to say live service, but I think it's going to be different than like a normal what we think of with live service. But yes, it will be an ongoing thing, so that you don't buy Forza Motorsport over and over and over. you would just buy Forza Motorsport, and then they will update it. They'll have major expansions here and there, and they will just keep adding more and more things onto it. But I also don't know if car licenses will jive with that. I don't know. Because it does feel like one of the things that's, limits the Forza games and the Gran Turismo games, and the reason that there are so many that are delisted is that, yeah, those car licenses have like a 5-year expiration date on their deals, and then they don't want you using that car anymore. They want you to use the next cars that they have coming up. So, or the opposite. That's one thing that gets really confusing to me sometimes. Is like when you look in and it's like the most recent version of this car you have is from like 2010 or 2008. Like the first time you put it in the game, you haven't even put out a new one. I don't know. Yeah. The Indiana Jones game. I think it's too early, but that perfectly fits Xbox, right? They love showing stuff that's too early. So we might see more Indiana Jones. But we wouldn't see it. We wouldn't see it in the sense of here's a game running. We would see just here's another more elaborate CG trailer that shows us some idea of what the story's going on. Ubisoft said they would do something later in the year. Okay, thank you. I was not clear on that. I don't know if I had forgotten it or what, but I was like, where the heck is Ubisoft? But if they said they're just not doing anything during Summer Game Fest, then that makes sense. But that means they're ripe for the picking for both, or for all three of those showcases. Again, they could do stuff at Summer Game Fest. They could do stuff at Xbox. They could do stuff at the PC Gaming Show. Third parties are wild cards like that. Yeah, people asking for AJ to voice Indy. Of course, of course. A lot of praise for his performance in Lego Star Wars. He's pretty good there at that voice matching. Was the Indy announcement teaser 2020 or 2021? I want to say it was late 2020. I don't know 100% off the top of my head. But yeah, somehow we got through an hour already. Nintendo is doing a road trip tour around the country. Do you think they think that's enough? No, Nintendo does that all the time. I feel like Nintendo does that, if not every summer. Well, I mean, obviously COVID would have stopped them from doing that anyways. But yeah, that's just a normal Nintendo thing. That really doesn't have anything to do with whether or not they do a direct. For sure. Hitman 007 could be a good time for a teaser for that. Yep. I think it could be a good time for a teaser for that. Oh, and that GoldenEye leak, that achievements leak, that is weird. That is super weird. What is happening there? Because okay, there's two scenarios, right? Either that game is getting announced real soon, or somehow the achievements just got discovered for that game that's like 10 years old, 12 years old. What? Like, come on. That's so very strange. Gotham Knights looks rough. Yep. I'm still hopeful, but it didn't spark new interest. It was a little, I don't know. Like it looks fine, but yeah, I'm not super excited for what I've seen so far gameplay wise. That'll do it. People are messaging me now in Slack. It's time to end it. It's time to get things ready. It's time to check that betting special. All right. It was a fun one. Look forward to everything else that we've got coming up for Summer Game Fest this week. Again, no hangout on Thursday because we will be live watching Keeley. All right. Thank you, everybody.